I'm making the point that Gavin Newsom is losing this argument. How would I say that? Why would I deduce that? How would I come up with such a thing? Well, listen to the folks on CNN and what they highlighted with this chart. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, if we just take a look at the baseline numbers here, this is Trump's net approval rating on immigration. It's gone up like a rocket.
Did you hear that, Governor Newsom? Did you hear that? I know you're about to leave office soon. I get that. But did you just hear that? America is with Donald Trump. America is with the GOP on this issue, okay? He's gaining traction.
Stephen A. Smith has shared a startling perspective on why Gavin Newsom's California seems to be unraveling. And it isn't what most observers assume. While news headlines emphasize high taxes and corporations leaving, a deeper, more concerning issue is quietly undermining the governor's authority. According to Stephen A., the real reason behind California's growing instability might surprise a lot of people today.
Gavin Newsom's talking about potentially running for the president. Actually, he's not talking about it. He's trying to avoid talking about it. But we all know what he's doing because he has to leave the gubernatorial seat in 2026. The governor's seat in 2026. We know what he wants. You gonna pull it off with the record that took place in California all of these years under your stewardship? It's nice to see him sticking his chest out and going off. You think they don't have clips of how you embraced extreme leftist policies during the whole woke movement and cancel culture and everything else? You think they don't have those clips? You think they didn't see people getting arrested and let out of jail the same day?
Stephen A. Smith argues that the greatest threat to Gavin Newsom's potential presidential ambitions is his increasing embrace of woke politics. In his view, Newsom's strong push for progressive reforms and culture-focused initiatives has alienated moderate voters. This, he suggests, has also fueled California's ongoing turmoil. From sweeping education changes to vocal support for contentious movements, Newsom's choices have sparked relentless criticism. Viral clips show him advocating these policies, which critics claim prioritize ideology over practical leadership. Stephen A. clarifies that progressivism itself isn't the problem. Rather, Newsom's method makes him seem detached from everyday Californians facing high costs and crumbling infrastructure.
You think they don't have footage of crime ravaging the streets of Los Angeles or homelessness? You think they don't know about the cost of living and how it's the highest in this republic right now? Let's talk. Let's talk.
Stephen A. Smith didn't stop there. He went on to highlight additional reasons why California is struggling under Newsom. A top concern is homelessness, now at crisis levels in cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco. Stephen A. points out that streets are filled with people trying to survive while government efforts remain slow and bogged down by bureaucracy. Another serious problem is the rising cost of living. Skyrocketing housing prices, heavy taxes, and strict regulations make it almost impossible for middle-class families and small businesses to thrive. Together, these challenges are creating a volatile situation across the state.
I don't pretend to know. I'm just an American citizen and a conscientious observer that's able to read and deduce what the hell is happening to some degree. I don't have all the answers, but damn it, the people who do, what good are you if all you're going to do is spew vitriol and alienate one side with 77 million voters that are going to look at him and embrace the victim or the victimhood that he's embracing? How do you serve to convince them to swing your way? Because somebody needs to. How are you going to convince people to go to the polls?
Another major concern, according to Stephen A., is California's refusal to genuinely listen to Republicans or opposing voices. Being a heavily Democratic state does not justify ignoring alternative perspectives. He argues this dismissal has worsened political polarization and left many residents feeling overlooked. When leaders ignore other viewpoints, policies become one-sided and unrealistic, worsening issues like housing shortages, taxes, and business restrictions. Shutting out opposition convinces many voters that state officials are disconnected from real problems.
On this particular issue, as it involves migrants, immigrants, those who are undocumented, dare we say illegal, in the United States of America, he's winning on this issue. There's a reason he won a popular vote. There's a reason he won the electoral college vote. There's a reason he won every swing state. There are people within the United States of America that want our immigration crisis addressed. and want the situation resolved somehow, some way. And a person that seems eager to bring a resolution to the table is President Donald Trump.
Stephen A. Smith also criticizes Gavin Newsom's unwillingness to cooperate with former President Donald Trump on immigration matters. Immigration impacts safety, schools, housing, and public services. Yet Newsom has consistently opposed Trump-backed measures. Media reports indicate he blocked federal enforcement and expanded sanctuary policies. Critics argue these actions encourage illegal immigration and strain public resources. As a result, schools face overcrowding, housing availability drops, and services are overwhelmed. Stephen A. warns that prioritizing politics over practical solutions erodes public confidence in leadership.
They may say we had a bipartisan agreement when Joe Biden was in office that Donald Trump convinced the GOP to nix because he wanted to use it as an issue to favor him during the election. Well, damn it, it worked. It worked. And I got news for you, Governor Newsom. It's working now. But before I go any further to elaborate on this issue, let's hear from Donald Trump himself. Let's see how he feels about the state of California and what's been going on under Governor Newsom's regime. Check out the president.
I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under budget.
Another significant threat to Newsom's reputation is the troubled high-speed rail project. Once hailed as a sign of progress, it has become an example of mismanagement and wasted resources. Stephen A. notes that the project has endured endless delays, skyrocketing costs, and complicated bureaucracy. Originally promised to be fast and affordable, the budget has ballooned over the years. Taxpayers are frustrated, and local communities remain uncertain. Today, the project symbolizes broken promises and weak leadership.
Based off of what Donald Trump said, I'm making the point that Gavin Newsom is losing this argument. How would I say that? Why would I deduce that? How would I come up with such a thing? Well, listen to the folks on CNN and what they highlighted with this chart. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, if we just take a look at the baseline numbers here, this is Trump's net approval rating on immigration. It's gone up like a rocket. Compare now versus 8 years ago during Trump's first term. Look at this. In his first term, Trump was way underwater at minus 21 points. But look at this. He's up over 20 points. Now in the aggregate, he is in positive territory at plus 1 point on his net approval rating. Some other polls even have it a little bit higher than that. There is no issue on which Trump is doing so much better than he was in his first term, more than the issue of immigration.
Stephen A. Smith frames this as Newsom losing control over immigration policy, which in turn undermines voter confidence compared to Donald Trump. Many voters favor Trump's strict border policies, yet Newsom has taken the opposite approach. His opposition to federal enforcement and promotion of sanctuary policies are criticized as encouraging disorder. Overcrowded schools and stretched public services are blamed on these choices. Stephen A. warns that this perception could seriously damage Newsom's political prospects.
But there is a deep state, which is the bureaucratic class that justifies its existence by making up new rules, and that's my job. It's the vast network of regulators, administrators, inspectors, contract reviewers, project managers, fee assessors, special commissioners, zoning officers, and consultants whose jobs seem to be to make sure nothing ever happens and then charge you for it.
Bill Maher adds to the critique by pointing to one major problem: bureaucracy. Maher claims California is bogged down by endless red tape. Even simple projects take years because permits and approvals move so slowly. By the time anything is finished, millions of dollars have already been wasted. He argues this system stifles innovation and prevents progress. Whether it's housing, infrastructure, or homelessness programs, good ideas often die under layers of paperwork.
Semaphore estimates that if the red tape could be cut on everything that's currently stuck in the renewable queue, the United States would be 80% zero carbon in 7 years. The enemy to clean air isn't just big oil, it's big permitting. It's not that America isn't able to get anything done. It's that we're not allowed to. Of course, there should be consideration of the environment on everything we build, but as so often happens on the left, they seem to have no ability to recognize when they've taken a concept way too far and are in fact hurting their own cause. America's become Gulliver, the giant that got tied down with 1,000 tiny ropes by Lilliputians, the horde of little people who do big damage.
Mark clarifies that he supports rules and accountability. Regulations are necessary. The issue arises when bureaucracy becomes so extreme that it halts development entirely. Projects that should take months stretch into years because approvals get stuck in repeated reviews. Marr believes this level of red tape punishes effort and makes efficiency impossible. Housing, roads, and public initiatives remain frozen while officials shuffle papers. Until balance is restored, California's problems will persist.
As Barack Obama once said, one of the biggest lessons he learned as president was there is no such thing as shovel-ready projects. Environmental impact statements used to be a few pages long. Now they're thousands of pages of legalistic nonsense and take an average of 4.5 years to complete, with thousands of bureaucrats filling out millions of paper forms that kill hundreds of forests to answer the question, is this good for the environment?
In the end, Stephen A. Smith and Bill Maher arrive at a shared, concerning conclusion. California's issues are no longer isolated. They reflect deeper failures in leadership and governance. From woke politics and high living costs to homelessness, immigration disputes, and crushing bureaucracy, the state appears trapped in dysfunction. Newsom's unwillingness to compromise or cut through red tape has intensified public frustration. Businesses leave, taxes rise, and residents struggle. These failures now threaten his national ambitions and place California under intense scrutiny. Without serious reforms emphasizing results, accountability, and common sense, California risks becoming a cautionary tale rather than a success story. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more updates. Thanks for watching.